Appreciate that.
How many times have you been in a photo?
This is my first time. Here we go.
Well, what's the last week or so been like for you, getting to play Sunday and then finding out this week, you get out of the 53-man roster?
It's been amazing. It's all I could ask for, truly, just given the opportunity to be out here and throw on the Seahawks uniform at Lucas Oil Stadium for the home opener, or for the season opener. It was truly unbelievable, and just such a great team win. So truly thrilled to be a part of it.
Did you have enough time to scramble folks from the Chicago area down for the game?
Yeah. My brother and his roommates, they drove from Chicago, and then my grandparents, aunt and uncle, they drove down from Michigan. So scrambled together a good crew, and they were able to support me, which was awesome.
Went around Saturday begging for teammates' tickets, or how did you get all that arranged?
No, my family did it all themselves, so I didn't have anything to do with that. They just they were willing to make the drive and buy the tickets as well, so they supported me greatly.
Can you summarize how your last year has gone? You go into last year, you hadn't started at Army for 3 years, you were a cadet graduating from West Point, and now you're an NFL player.
Yeah, it's certainly been a wild ride. I did everything I could at West Point in terms of academics in the military, and obviously as a part of the football program there. And when it was my turn to shine, when it was my time to shine, senior year, I put my best foot forward, and I did everything I could to learn our defense and to build a good relationship with the guys around me. Establish leadership in the locker room. Being a senior, it was my last year. And to build a relationship with our coaches, on the new defensive coaches that we had last year, and kind of took things from there. And as the season progressed, I realized the success that I was having got noticed, and the NFL was definitely a possibility. So I worked really hard to do everything that I could leading up to the draft to get drafted. That didn't happen. Fell to the 8th round, and I'm thankful that there was a lot of mutual interest between myself and the Seattle Seahawks. So now I'm standing up here on a podium and feel very honored.
Is that the first time you had considered playing in the NFL was last year?
It's really been since I was about 6 years old. I've always wanted to play in the NFL, but the first time that I realized it was truly going to be a possibility was definitely this past year. I always kept it in the back of my head. It was something that I think everyone, dreams about while they're still playing football. And so I certainly wasn't going to let it go. If the opportunity was there, I just kind of had to create the opportunity for myself, and I really had 1 year to do it. So just thankful the way this past year played out, and it was a testament to all the hard work that was put in throughout the past years, and blessed that it was able to show off and be out here now.
As a player, what do you attribute to that huge jump, it just clicking like that after the first 3 years, not getting many chances? Was it all about opportunity, or were there just certain things that just really you elevated in your game that helped you have that success?
I think it's a good mix of both. The opportunity's got to be there, and I worked hard just to get the opportunity. And we got a change in coaching staff at Army, and they really liked what they saw. It was a little bit of a new defense, so there was a really good role for me to fill. And on top of that, I definitely elevated my game, and I think that's a huge credit to our linebacker coach at Army. He's now the safeties coach, Sheil Wood, outstanding coach. Our defensive coordinator, Nate Woody, both just great coaches, and I learned so much about preparing for the game and kind of taking my game to the next level because of them. And I still carry that with me while I'm here today, and I'm going to continue with that the rest of my career, just because that really, this past year, I've definitely elevated my game and become a better player. And you just kind of got to find things that help you do that, and that's gonna keep me having success and moving forward in the right direction.
How did you find out on Monday or Tuesday or whatever that they were signing you?
I got a call from my agent first, and then came into the building. Got a call from like the scouting staff. Came into the building, and then got to talk to all the coaches, John Schneider and everybody up in the offices. So that was certainly a good feeling.
Was training camp frustrating? I mean, so you got off to a good start, then got hurt and didn't play the first 2 games and all that. What was all that like for you?
Yeah, it was frustrating. Certainly, a curveball for me. It was about day 4 of training camp, and my leg just I couldn't really go full speed, and that was not going to help me being out there, not being able to go full speed, and it was just one of those things. It was a soft tissue injury that I've never had before, and something that I just kind of had to work around and attack things day by day as I would have normally in training camp. But being sidelined and not being able to truly show what I can do, it was really frustrating. So being given the opportunity to go out there for the last preseason game, I was more than excited for that.
It seems like the rules have changed a bit over the last few years, but can you help us understand like what your obligations are, what your commitments are to the Army now?
Yeah, so the policy, it's changed. Last year, it was really put into place with Elijah Riley and Cole Christensen. Those are 2 guys that graduated before me at Army. So I'll be able to. There's a lot of flexibility, which is great for both parties, and I'm gonna do everything that I can, to represent the military, to represent the Seahawks, and really make it a good. Just a good reason, to have military academy graduates playing professional sports, because there's so much an impact, and there's a huge connection, especially between the military and football, leadership, just so many things that I can name. But the policy that's in place right now, it allows us to play for as long as our careers, will go, and afterwards either serve 5 years on active duty or some type of civilian service. 5 years of service, though.
So like in the off season, you don't have to do anything Army wise, or you can put
No, yeah. So right now, during our playing careers, we're in the inactive ready reserves, and we don't have any true military obligation besides keep ourselves right as professionals and conduct ourselves in the right way for not only the Seahawks organization but the military as well. But other than that, yeah, it's changed, because I know when Keenan Reynolds was here and people that have come out of military academies in the past, it was different. They did have obligations in the off season, but right now that's not the case.
if you weren't playing in the NFL, what would you be doing with the Army right now?
I'd be down in Fort Benning, Georgia, going to a basic officer leadership course as an infantry officer.
You heard from your second lieutenant friends about this is pretty good 2LT pay and
Yeah, no, I talk to all my guys all the time, and I asked them a lot about how things are going for them. I've got buddies all over the place, because not everyone does infantry. There's 17 different branches coming out of West Point that you can choose. So I've got friends all over the place doing all different types of things. A lot of them starting their careers as officers. And all, it's definitely a different lifestyle. I'm still playing football. Those guys are, we text each other when the Army's played these past 2 weeks, and it's kind of different because I'm still in football mode, and they're obviously beginning their military careers, and they're really excited for that though. So, I'm excited for them. They're excited for me. It's pretty cool.
when they waived you, they always say, well, we want to bring you back on the practice squad, but those 24 hours, whether you're going to get claimed, another organization that you'd have to start over in, can you describe that anxiety of the 24 hours and then the relief, I would probably guess, that you got claimed back here?
Yeah, that was an interesting 24 hours, and I've seen it, in Hard Knocks and just talking to different people about how the NFL works, and that's kind of how things go at the end of training camp. That was something that's why I was so frustrated during training camp, was that I wasn't really able to showcase everything I had. I was out with an injury, so I wasn't able to do as much as I had wanted, and when it came time to waive, the end of the roster, you kind of realize, okay, I'm in that boat. Don't really know how things will go, especially being on waivers and having other teams, with the possibility to claim you. I felt like I played well in the last preseason game, so there was a possibility for that, and I really didn't know what was going to happen. Things were definitely up in the air, but thankfully the Seahawks wanted to bring me back to practice squad, and I was certainly happy about that.
You alluded to it. Do you feel like succeeding in getting into the NFL can help Army football recruiting and can open up doors to quality of football player that maybe didn't think that was an option?
I think it certainly does. Yeah, it helps. It helps with Army football. It helps with all different types of the academies and for their recruiting purposes. And I think it helps a lot out here too, just in the community, and especially because out here we have Fort Lewis down near Tacoma. So I haven't had the opportunity yet to go down there, but I do have some former Army football players and good friends that are down there, and I know at some point throughout the season I'm going to make my way down there, and they say it would be a great impact. I'd have a great impact on the soldiers. I don't know if you guys are aware, we were able to do the MVP huddle at Lumen Field within the past month, and that's merging veterans and players. And that was just a great opportunity to be there and be present. There were a lot of veterans there. Tyler Ott was with me. Luke Wilson, who played here, he was there as well. And that was a great opportunity to kind of connect on the military side of things with football.
Given everything that you just said, how much more special is it to run out on the field in front of the home fans representing the Seahawks and everything that you just talked about?
Oh, it's so special. And before I left West Point, there was a TAC NCO there, and he was from out here. He's from Washington, and he was like, "Dude, I'm the biggest Seahawks fan ever. Can you sign this? Can you sign that?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I haven't really done anything yet." He was really excited for me, and he's texted me just about every week since I've been out here. And on top of that, he's like, "Look, man, everybody at Fort Lewis, they're going to be so happy. They're going to watch you. You're going to have eyes on you in terms of the military." And just to know that, the guys that I do know, former Army football brothers that are at Fort Lewis, they're very excited for me, and they talk to their soldiers about me. So just to know that I have that impact, and there's a military presence out here, it's really cool, and I'm very thankful to be able to represent a lot more than just myself.
Coach Norton said they're playing you at middle linebacker right now. How similar is that to what you did at Army?
It's pretty similar. Yeah, there's a Mike and a Will spot, and the defense itself is a little different. I think with every defense and every different type of defensive coordinator, you get some different nuances. But I've been able to come in, and I think being out here for rookie minicamp and OTAs really helped a lot. And Coach Norton and the staff are unbelievable. Such a great staff, and as you can tell in the win against the Colts, our defense dominated. So there's similarities, there's differences, but overall it's pretty easy to work through it. When you have great people surrounding you.
Anything else, guys? Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.